So inshallah today what we wanted to do was really equip people, particularly leaders, people that are volunteers, activists in their communities, and how they can have the best Ramadan possible. So how can we learn the mindset, the strategies, the techniques in having the best Ramadan for ourselves first and foremost? How are we able to balance everything in life and school and family and volunteering and of course our spiritual and emotional benefits during Ramadan? And then how can we have a great Ramadan for our community? What are certain techniques and strategies in maximizing Ramadan for our community? So that's the theme for today. We really, really appreciate everybody joining us and being here with us. It truly means a lot to us. And I know, I hope everybody took some time out today to give their mom a hug or a kiss or a call, whatever it may be. And inshallah, we won't be, we'll try to make this short, sweet, to the point, beneficial, inshallah, and we'll have everybody enjoy the rest of their Sunday. So we will be starting with our dear instructor and Sheikh, Mohammad Hasan. Mohammad has been with Oaktree for about 3 years now. He's a counselor by profession. He's been one of our lead instructors and trainers for many years, and he will be focusing on, inshallah, how to maximize Ramadan at a personal level. Bismillah, the floor is yours.
All righty. Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam rasulillah. So, as we start, there is a poll. If you can take a quick second and give your input on the poll, and Rami will, give us the result. If you already have a concrete plan for this Ramadan, or you don't, or you have no idea what a concrete plan is. And I'm sure as a leader, that's not the case. You do know what a concrete plan is. So, like anything else in life, right there, I see the question here. Do you have a concrete plan? Are you involved with your community masjid, local organization for Ramadan? Does your community center organization have a Ramadan plan? So if you just take a quick second and give us a little input there. And we will share the result with everyone as we get input. So like anything else in life, if you don't have an actual plan, this is what's going to happen. What's going to happen is you're excited about Ramadan. A lot of you are busy preparing your centers in your family plans. And you're going to start Ramadan very hyped. You're going to jump from one thing to another because you're hearing things, listening to things, you're reading things. You're going to test drive a whole bunch of things. And then you're going to try to juggle your work, your community volunteering, your activism, family, your exercise, social time. And then by the third, fourth, fifth day, after first week, you're going to get burned out. And then the next 15 to 20 days are going to fly by. You're going to have no idea what happened. And then you're going to all of a sudden realize it's the 25th of Ramadan. And then, you're going to get all frantic and try to make up as much as you can. The last 5 days, especially 27th night, maybe even 21st night and 23rd night. And then Ramadan's going to come to an end and you're going to feel guilty. And you're going to, put out Facebook posts how much you miss Ramadan. And, that's typically what happens, and it's sad that, especially for us who are activists and leaders, we run messages, we are running organizations, we have our social projects on and that we're working on, and here we are, we can't make the most of Ramadan. There's three keywords that I want us to think about here. Siyam, taqwa, and Ramadan. I call the three keywords for Ramadan. So Siyam, linguistically, it has a connotation to mean training. And there's a whole the linguists of the Quran, they talk about that it was used in the in traditionally to mean training a horse for a battle, and there are other definitions, but essentially it means training. And then when you do that training, you achieve taqwa, which is a shield that protects you from staying within the boundaries of God. And then you do this for 30 days, you achieve Ramadan. And one of the definitions of Ramadan, according to a linguist, it means intense heat. Heat serves as a catalyst to change, to reform you, to refine you, right? And so, you achieve this change by end of Ramadan. And so if you ever want to make change in your life, if you want to transform in different areas of your life, this is the month to do it. And as you are volunteering, as you're taking care of your masjid, as you're, working on your charity project, it has to also be about you. And so, and the reason being is that this month is so special, right? And it's so special that, I mean, there are a hadith about how much blessed this month is. And performing a voluntary act, it gives you the reward of a fard act. And if you do fard, is it's 70 times, and even more than that, because as-sawmu li wa ana ajzi bi, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Rasulullah in hadith, that fasting is for me, and I'll reward it. So you get extra bonuses for anything that you do this month. And so all your ibadat, everything that you do for yourself, for your family, for your community, you're getting extra reward this month. Your sadaqat, you're getting extra reward. So this is the month to maximize as much as you can, right? And then it's also pretty scary, at least for me, when I read the hadith, the famous hadith about Rasulullah was ascending on the pulpit, and he said, Ameen, Ameen, Ameen. And they asked him, Rasulullah, what's it about? And he said that in Jibreel came, and he said, whoever reaches the month of Ramadan and he's not forgiven, then he will enter hellfire, and Allah will cast him away, far away, right? So that scares me personally, because here I am, I'm a community activist, I'm an organizer, I'm a volunteer, and was I able to take care of myself? Was I able to improve myself? Was I able to save myself from hellfire last Ramadan? That's a hard question to ask, and especially this to me, it's so serious, because this is Rasulullah who's saying Ameen, right? Which is very scary, because Rasulullah is someone, he just looks up to the heavens, قَدْ نَرَى تَقَلَّبَ وَجْهُكَ فِي السَّمَاءِ, and he just looks up to the heavens, and Allah changes the direction of the Qibla, and he's saying Ameen to such a hard statement, that you got to Ramadan, and no matter what excuse you have, whether because I'm busy with the community, I'm busy with my job, and I was not able to take or maximize my Ramadan, was it all worth it? And beyond that, Ramadan is a time that if you go in it thinking that, I'm just gonna try to survive through it, then you'll be staying in your comfort zone, and you will not be able to make change. And it will actually be a painful experience. So if you go in there with a different mindset this year, which is that, how do I have my best Ramadan this year, better than any other time in my life? And so, and of course, this is a month that, that I would argue is the productive month of the year. So Ramadan is not a month of being unproductive, because we have so much going on in the community, so much going on, Taraweeh, and then fasting, wake up for suhoor. And so I would say it's actually the most productive month of the year, because if you really think about it, there's something al-barakah, right? And if you look at even our Islamic history, right, Badr, Fateh Mecca, it all took place in the month of Ramadan. And even just thinking about this barakah, that Allah has a special blessing in this month. And I would even argue that if you have a big project in your life that you want to get started in, this is the month to do it. And it might sound very strange, but what I'm telling you is, if you have something big you want to do and achieve, this is the month to start, because you want to start with the blessing, whether it be in your personal life, whether it be in your professional life. And so, I want this webinar to be as practical and as specific as possible. So I'm sure you could hear plenty of lectures. You're going to attend plenty of webinars. You've been reading about Ramadan. So, and what we want to do at Oaktree Institute is, okay, you have that for yourself and motivate you, to excite you, but we want to get to the nitty gritty. How do you do it, right? And I'm sure that's why you're here. You're spending with us this 2 hours, because I think you are serious about making this happen. Not just hearing some fluff, not hearing good stories, and feeling good, which is great, which is needed to get you started, right? But we got to get to the nitty gritty. How do we actually do this? How do you have the best Ramadan that you can have? All right, I call it the 4-step plan. Okay, these are 4 steps, and how we're going to have the best Ramadan possible for our personal self, right? So number 1 is, you have to clean out your trash. So we can, we try to add stuff, but we already have too much. We're too full of junk, right? You can't add stuff when you have already too much junk in your system, whether it be all the toxins that you put in your body, all the haram that you involve in excessive Netflix, so much time spent on social media, so much time spending out, hanging out, and then you have certain unnecessary things that you're doing, would that be at work, would that be at home, and even looking at your volunteer work, whether you are actually getting stuff done in your organization or you're having a lot of meetings, which one is it? And so there's a lot of excessive stuff that's in your system that, we cannot add stuff. And as you're getting prepared for Ramadan in the next few days, you have all these amazing goals, right? But you have no space for it. So we can't talk about us putting goals and putting them in our calendar where we can't, clean up. So what I want to do say is that what's going to happen if as you stick around with us is that by the end of this presentation, this is what we're going to have. All right, I want you to take a look at this. This is what we are going to have. So at the end of my section here, we all want to end up with a weekly map. Okay. So that's our end goal, to get a weekly map that will guide us throughout the weeks of Ramadan. All right. So let me jump back in to cleaning out our trash. So in cleaning out our trash, I like to think of this in the concept of itikaf. Okay, so we all know Ramadan is the month of itikaf, and of course in the religious sense, it lasts 10 nights, like it lasts 20 nights. You seclude yourself in the masjid, you focus on ibadat and building a relationship with Allah. But I want you to take that concept and extend it a little bit. All right, just take that the lesson of that concept, and which is about taking the month of itikaf to break yourself from the typical norms. So it means attending few less iftar parties this year. It means, logging onto Instagram and Snap a little less this year. It means excusing yourself from unnecessary gatherings a little more this year, right? And doing this so you can free up time for yourself. And you already have a whole lot on your plate for your organization, for your community, for your social activism. You have a whole lot on your plate already. Especially Ramadan, people get high gear to raise money and so forth. So you already have a whole lot. So you got to be able to lean out other areas so you can make room for your Salah, for your Quran, for your contribution. And so, we need to clean out the stuff. Now, these trashes that we have, they affect us. All right. So any trash that in our system affect us. So whether your trash that enters your system through your mouth or through your ears, through your eyes. And this is something that is very important, especially for, as you are activists and leaders in the Muslim community, the trash that enters your body, right? So literally, average adult loses roughly 300 billion cells to old age every day. Let me try to make that make sense for you. What that means is literally your body is recreating you. All your organs after 7 years are not the same organ that you had. So that means is, all the food that you're eating, literally making your body parts. So depending on what you're eating, you are becoming that. So you are what you eat. and so, we're thinking about what is it that entering your system? Is it healthy, wholesome, tasty food, or is it complete junk? Whatever's entering now is making your body parts, right? I know this is exaggerated, but you get the point. And then what enters your ears even, I'm not going to talk about the fiqh of what you're listening to, what gossip you listen to, what music you listen to. I'm not going to talk about that, right? But what I want to do say is that, there was a research published by Joachim Hansen and Johan Musner at the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology. And they basically took people in and they had them hear different kind of music. And what they found is that different kind of music have a different impact, in your understanding of the world, in your emotions. So what I'm telling you is that constantly what you're hearing around you impacts how you view the world, how you look at yourself, how you think about everything. And so if you look at, what kind of social circle are you in? What kind of conversation are you engaging on YouTube comment section? If you look at what kind of even music if you listen to, all that has an impact in your psyche. So I want you to make a conscious choice as what you're allowing your ears, what you're allowing to enter through your ears. This is constant decision you have to make. Even constant pessimism. So, you with a bunch of organizers who always looking at the world as if things are almost going down and the community is going to trash. And you keep hearing that's going to start to affect your psyche, right? I'm not saying be unrealistic. What I'm saying is it does affect you. And so I want you to think about that, the trash that enters your ears, even the trash that enters your eyes, and you don't realize what you see constantly. Will it be sometime haram, may Allah forgive, and even halal things, but what you allow to enter your eyes is a window to your soul, right? And obviously the famous story of Imam Shafi'i comes to mind. Imam Shafi'i had an amazing memory, right? And it is said that one time he was he used to, obviously, when he used to read a book, he would memorize, as he's reading. His memory is so sharp. One time he, the story goes, that he looked at something that he shouldn't have looked at, and he felt something changing in his heart, right? And so he went to his teacher, and his teacher's name was Waqi bin al-Jarrah, and he went to him and he said, shakawtu ila waqi'in su'a hifzi. Very famous narration. He said, I went to my teacher, Waqi, and told him that, there's some deficiency in my memory. He's Imam Shafi'i, there's no deficiency in his memory, but he felt something change in his heart once he perhaps saw something that was not something halal, and that entered his heart, and he realized that it was affecting my memory, affecting my soul, right? And so he went to his teacher, and his teacher told him, فَأَرْشَدْنِي إِلَى تَرْكِ الْمَعَاصِي, and he said that he told me to avoid the sins, because he called بِأَنَّ إِلْمِ نُورٌ, that the knowledge is light, right? وَنُورُ اللَّهِ يُؤْتَهُ الْأَعَاصِي, the light of Allah, the light of Allah doesn't enter it's not granted to a sinner, right? And so that's an interesting way of looking at that. What enters your eyes has an impact in your soul. So this Ramadan, I want you to think about what you're allowing to enter through your eyes, whether it be when you're scrolling through Facebook or YouTube, or even how you're looking at things. So you want to think about that. Now, I could talk about, we could talk about here, working on a bad habit this Ramadan. We could talk about how to, let go of certain sins. But for the purpose of our webinar today, what I want to focus on is detoxing your time, because, I want to make this as practical as possible. So as our step number 1, which is cleaning out your trash, what I want you to work on is detoxing your time. So here's how this works. So after this webinar is over, I want you to take out a piece of paper on your phone, on the computer, list out all your to-do list for the next 30 days. All right. So all your to-do list for the next 30 days. So it could be small stuff, big stuff, whatever it is. I want you to just write it all down. It's probably going to take you about half an hour, and you probably will end up with maybe 3-page maximum, right? So these are things that you have due, all areas of your life. Just list out to-do list for the next 30 days, all your to-do lists. Why am I saying that? Because here's the truth, okay? And this will hurt. The truth is, everything on that list you cannot do, because everything that you have on that list, some of them you are going to have to cut out, some of them you're going to have to postpone after Ramadan, and some of them you are going to have to consolidate, and some of them you have to delegate, because your list is too full. So take that half an hour, write out the entire list, for whatever you have to get done in the next 30 days, entire month of Ramadan. And then I want you to think about 2 things. One is, how important are they? When you look at the whole list, how important are they? And how urgent are they? So are they important or are they urgent? So important means, if you looked at that to-do list 30 years from now, and you look back at it, how important is it really? Simple question. If you looked at that list, no, I have to get this done. It's so important. Okay, fine. If you looked at it 30 years from now, how important was it in your life to begin with? Okay, that's how you decide. Is it a 1, not so important, or is it a 10, really important? Urgent means, if I don't get it done, there will be something deadly consequences. All right. So 1 meaning, nah, not really. 10 meaning, no, I have to get it done. It's deadly urgent. So once you define those 2 things, then you get to, this chart here. So some things in life are not important, but urgent. Okay. So then actually long-term, not actually important, but they feel urgent, and we call them distractions, right? They're literally distractions. Basically, they're not urgent, not important. So they're empty calories. So like turning on the TV and just watching, eating junk food, just screen shopping. These are distraction, not urgent, not important. And then certain things are urgent, meaning like, man, you got to get it done now. Like people are pushing you, you got to get it done now. But they're actually not important. So things like social media notification, they feel urgent, but then they're not important, right? Or replying to text messages in real time, or getting a live game score, right? It feels urgent because you got to, it's happening now, but is it really important, right? If you looked at 30 years from now, what happens in the NBA final, is that going to really affect your life, right? It really, honestly, in 30 years from now, is it really going to affect your life? Probably not.
Mohammad,
Yes.
LeBron needs to win another championship.
You got to get another ring.
Yeah.
You look at it from 30 years from now, how important is it? Even that text message, people send text message, they feel like I have to answer it now, I have this policy that, look, if it's really important, they will leave you a message. And if it's emergency, guess what? They have to call 911. I can't help them. You can't help them, right? And so it's delusion. Basically, if it feels urgent, but it's actually not important. All right. So once you look at your life and look at these, it's not really important, not urgent. Is it not important, not urgent? And you look at that, then once you have this, then I want you to rate that 3-page of to-do list 1 through 10. Okay. Just give it a number. I think we as we're continuing, I think we have the we have the
poll results, Mohammed. So
yeah, go for it.
33% of our attendees said that they have a concrete plan for Ramadan, and 76% said they are still working on a plan. Yes, everybody was shy to say no.
Right.
So
okay.
That's interesting.
All leaders are work in progress because they know that word.
Of course. So that's the
fine.
results that we have.
That's good. And even if the folks who are watching, you have a concrete plan, I think you'll be a little surprised in the way we're going to do it. All right. So just hold on to your seats. All right. So rated 1 through 10. All right. So next 30 days, your whole to-do list, and take the time out to do this. All right. You joined this webinar, you're spending this, hour and a half with us. And so make this count. All right. So, once you're done, list out, take half an hour. It will take 2-3 pages, maybe, all your to-do list, small stuff, big stuff. And what you want to do is, you want to rate it 1 through 10. And once you rate it, and here comes the hard part, guys. You ready? The hard part is you're gonna have to make some sacrifices and some hard decisions. All right. So when you have that 3-page, you're gonna have to let go of anything that's below 5 for this month of Ramadan. Because you have to open up space, not just for your community work, for your social activism work, but you have to open up space for your own personal relationship and your spiritual development. And so you have to make time for it, right? And because think about it, you're already busy. How are you going to add in stuff come next 3 days? All of your schedule, all of your leaders here, all of your schedules are packed. So how you expect to add stuff in 3 days? Oh, inshallah, Allah will put something. No, that's not how this works. You have to do your part. And doing your part means you have to actually have to make these sacrifices. And guess what? You're a leader. And what leaders do? They make decisions. That's what leadership is. So think about it. The higher you go up in the chain, you're CEO of a company. You're not sitting there, pushing bricks. I mean, you're paid to make decisions, right? That's your job. And the higher up you go in the leadership chain, you're literally, the buck stops with you and you make the decisions, right? And so you have to make some decisions as far as, this is important, this is not that important. All right. 1 through 10, you have to rate it. And then you have to make some calls. All right. So just step number 1. Now, here comes step number 2. All right.
So Mohammed, as you're getting to step number 2, I just want to make sure,
so
everybody that's with us, if you have any questions, please add them to the chat. And then we'll have time at the end to do some Q&A on each segment. But if you have any questions right now, add them to the chat, and then we'll give time at the end of the session also for you guys to actually talk to us and give us some of your questions as well.
For sure. Beautiful. So if you have any questions, anything so far that you need more clarity on, or anything that already is helping you, feel free, jump in. And anything that you find gem or beneficial, feel free to share with others on your social media and so forth. Of course, tag us at Oaktree. Areas of progress, number 2. All right, you with me? So step number 2 is your areas of progress. All right. So you're gonna have to consciously plan out your Ramadan, and this is what I'm proposing to you. All right. Have a look. What I'm telling you is that in each of these main areas, your Salah, your Quran, your character, your body, and your contribution, I want you to pick just one thing that you want to commit to. Yes, I know you have a whole list for things for Salah, a whole list for things of Quran, for all the areas. I know you do. But to make this work, I want you to just pick one thing in each of the areas that you're going to commit to. Once you book that into our weekly schedule that's coming up, once you book that in, then you could add in other bonuses. But I want you to pick one that you want to commit to in the area of Salah. One thing you want to commit to as far as the Quran. One thing to commit to as far as character. And then you can book in extras when you have more space. All right. And this is why I'm making a specific Salah, Quran, character, because some of you, especially organizers, your whole Ramadan is full of contribution. You're just organizing, you're just doing volunteer work, you're just, doing stuff for your, social activism. But then Salah, Quran, character, this all get neglected. So I want you to pick each of these areas because we need to have balanced, spiritual growth. And so make one thing in each of these areas, right? So what I mean by that, here's a litmus test, all right? So whatever goals you made, especially the 33%, folks, listen up. So those goals you made, all right, let me ask you, are those goals, do they pass this 3 litmus test? Okay, here's the litmus test. Number 1, the goal that you said 33% of you just said that you have some goals. Okay, in the area of Salah, in the area of Quran, in the area of your character. Okay, fine. Does that goal makes you a little nervous or not? Is it ambitious? Or is it the same old? Because if it's the same old, every year you're saying, inshallah, I do plan to, pray all my 5 salawat in the masjid. Every year you're saying that. So nothing new, nothing exciting, and nothing has really changed. And guess what? The same result you've been getting last few years, the same result you're going to get this year. All right. For the purpose of our system here, all right, this making the best Ramadan possible, this Ramadan mastery here, for the purpose of our system, I want you to, yes, have your other same goal, no problem. But I want you to first have this one. Make it, make sure it makes you a little nervous. All right. So whatever the goal you set for yourself, it has to be a little ambitious. It has to be relevant to you, and it has to make you a little bit nervous, new and novel and exciting. Okay. That's number one.
Can we have the answer question? So if you guys in the chat can add yes, no, maybe, not yet. So can you guys put into the chat, especially those of you guys that already said that you mentioned that you made some plans? Let us know. Does your plan make you a little nervous?
Yes. Is it ambitious? Right? Meaning that it's something that you are pushing yourself a little bit, right? You're going to go to a little zone. Number 2, is it, is it relevant, right? So, and it's all part of the litmus test. Number 1, does it make you nervous? What I mean by that is, again, is it ambitious? Is it relevant? Is it novel? Is it something new? All right. New and exciting that you're trying this year. And the whole point of this, right, is that, we want to have one thing that will, escalate and it's a keystone habit. So you do one of these things that will make the rest of your things in Salah that much more impactful. So for example, you might say, this year my goal is to pray all my sunnah prayers, right? That's my goal. You say that. I will say, does it make you a little nervous? Yeah, it does make me a little nervous. Because it's a little ambitious. I don't do that every year. I'm so busy organizing. I skip all my sunnahs even, right? And I said, okay, fine. But let me make it a little bit novel. You've been doing this every year. I want to make all my sunnahs in Ramadan. Okay, no problem. But let me give you something different. What if you made your goal that I'm going to read books and listen to lectures on the benefits of what is sunnah prayer? I'm going to learn about, Salat Duha, Awabin. I'm going to learn about Ishraq. And I'm going to just learn about these things. And then, of course, other extra prayers and nawafil and so forth. And I'm going to learn the benefits. And I'm going to really engross myself in every day learning a little bit more about the benefits and the all the amazing things about sunnah prayers. And that will set you in motion to actually make a permanent change. Instead of just saying, I'm going to make my goal again this year. This year, my goal again is to pray all my sunnah prayers. Okay, it doesn't make you a little nervous. It's ambitious. Number 2, it has to be measurable. So you can't just tell me this year my goal is to be less angry. Okay, that's not measurable. What do you mean by that? You're going to have 0 arguments. So do you and your spouse commit to 0 argument this Ramadan? That can be a measurable goal. So for this purpose of Ramadan only, you could fight afterwards. For purpose of Ramadan, 0 arguments. We just made that commitment. All right. So is that the case? Is it measurable? Right? If you're a good person, to who? Which person you're not good to? It doesn't make it specific. And then can I schedule it? It has to be schedulable onto your calendar for most of the things. And some of them no, of course, but for most of it, it has to be schedulable into your calendar. All right. So now I actually want you guys to do this. All right. So I'm going to give you guys 1 minute each to think about it. I'm getting you guys started. All right. The whole point is to get you guys started and rolling. So if you have a plan already, I want you to, reinvent them and look at them again. All right. So in the area of your body, in the area of your Salah, in the area of your Quran. All right. So let's start with one. And I'm going to give you, for each area, I'm going to give you a minute to come up with something. And while you're doing it, I'm going to keep on talking because I'm going to give you some tips on each of these areas. These are not the actual goals, but these are just tips in formulating that one smart goal that you want to have for each of those areas. All right, you with me? Again, if you have any question in terms of clarity on something or something working for you really good, feel free to write on the chat. All right, and Rami will take it. Yeah. So here we go. First area. Here we go. The area of body. So in the area of your body, what is this one thing that you want to commit to this Ramadan? Okay, so go ahead. Take your time, but I'm going to keep on talking. All right. So, you want to allow your body to detox. Ramadan is the intermittent fasting, right? So if you allow yourself to, not overcompensate for the food that you feel like you're missing out on, or overeat right during iftar right away, because you're not letting your body of your engine start. If you don't do that, right, you allow yourself, what's going to happen is first day of Ramadan is going to be okay. Second day, not so good. Third day, going to get worse. Fourth day, you're going to feel like, oh my God, forget it. I just need to eat a whole lot during iftar. But if you allow yourself to go through this detox process, by the fifth day, by the sixth day, by the seventh day, you're going to feel an energy that you have never felt before. No wonder hadith that Rasulullah would roll up his sleeve the last 10 nights. And by the time we get to last 10 nights, we're done. But if you allow yourself to detox, you're going to find that, that first day, second day, third day, feel horrible. Fourth day, worse. But then by the fifth, by the sixth, you're going to start to get energy that you never had before. So you need to slow down your eating. Of course, your brain needs about 15, 20 minutes before it can signal that, what food is entering the system, right? So if you gobble it up real quick, your body doesn't even know what you ate and doesn't know how much you ate, right? Avoid breaking fast in restaurants. Now, I'm going to say some things that you might find controversial. You might think like, what in the world is, Hasan saying? But look, I'm telling you for a reason, all right? I did this plan with enough people to know what works. And avoid breaking fast in restaurant. I'll tell you why. And you might say, no, but I go with my family, I go with my friends. But let me tell you, eating restaurant is the most spiritually awakening place for you to break your fast, where you have this amazing time, the 10, 15 minutes before iftar, to make dua, to do adhkar. And really, you're going to bust it out at a restaurant and, all the buzzing noises, everybody wait till like 10, 9, 8, like a countdown in a New Year's Eve. Like, really, it's not the best place. Don't masjid hop for iftar. Right, well, let's go this masjid for iftar. Let's go this masjid for iftar. Especially this is for city people, right? And don't do that, right? You do need iftar parties. I'm aware, but don't make that a big part of your Ramadan. And I know for some of your families here, it might be like, what? No, but it's the time to get together with the family. You're right, but guess what happens? You spend the whole day preparing, and then what happens is you after Tarawih, people take time. Some people get tired. Like, yeah, let's just skip Tarawih today. We just talk. Family time is important, right? Mm-hmm. And we end up doing that. And so, that's something you want to think about. Never skip out on suhoor. Of course, I know some of you like to have dinner and then like want to catch up more sleep possible. But if you don't have that suhoor, of course, there's some blessing in it. Is sunnah. And on top of that, your whole day, you're gonna feel dehydrated and so forth. Working out, right? Don't work out after, work out after Tarawih unless you're a professional athlete. So of course, professional athlete, you have to work out. They have a schedule, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. They have a schedule. But if you're not a professional athlete, try your best to, work out after Tarawih if possible. After Tarawih, get, a few workout done. Now, you're not going to be building, a muscle in Ramadan, right? Don't think it's not the time for gains. It's not going to happen. And you have to realize that. And especially for young folks, especially if you're at college and so forth, and you have summer off, please don't play ball right after, the dhuhr, and then, get tired, come knock out for 2 hours and wake up for iftar. Really, you're wasting valuable time. Every single moment in Ramadan is so valuable that you bust it out if you do this, right? So what's going to be the one thing that you want to do for your body? Okay, so you have it.
Yeah.
One thing.
Yeah. We actually got some people sharing. So thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Sosan, for sharing.
Okay.
So they shared some of their ideas.
Okay. You want to read some of them?
Yeah. So one of them talked about a replacement goal. So the idea So she needed more ideas for new contributions to her goals. But I guess in the area, but she wanted to replace certain things, if my understanding is correct from Halima's post.
Yeah.
And then Sausan said that she would really like to eat with the intention of strengthening her health. So having that intention as she eats, and to be on time for, and always be on time for Isha and Tarawih, that's very good.
So we'll get to that. So okay, here's second area, guys.
I guess she means like no dinners that extend past the Isha and Tarawih.
Absolutely. So that's very concrete, right? And is that something exciting? Let's ask yourself, is that something that's new? I haven't done that every year. So that's something new for me. It's ambitious, a little bit ambitious. I have to say some no, and is that something measurable? Yes, I could measure that. I could ask myself, okay, am I doing this every day or not? Right. So in the area of Quran, right? In the area of Quran, here we go. Take a minute and write down one specific goal that you want to commit to. I know you're gonna have 3, 4, 5, but the purpose of this one webinar, I want to pick only one. Okay, so in the Quran, what is that one goal, right? So a lot of us are organizers in masjid, and we still have difficulty with our basic basic tajweed. So maybe your goal this Ramadan is to not just keep on trying to read and pick up, trying to finish the whole Quran. Maybe your goal is to improve your tajweed, listen to Quran if you don't have wudu and so forth. Prepare for Taraweeh by reading all verses and meaning beforehand if you don't know Arabic, for example, right? Organizing a Quran halaqah over Google Hangout with your family, right? Maybe make a goal to teach one person alphabet this Ramadan. Whatever it is, pick one specific thing, for this area. All right. So again, feel free to share your goal, and then we can talk about it, right? That I'll see, does it pass the litmus test? Okay. And Rami here will read out loud.
Yeah. We don't have anybody shared. We have a couple of the health ones, but
sure.
We'll leave those to the end. But
okay.
So inshallah, yes. So I'll ask them if you guys can share your SMART goals for the area of Quran. Please include them in the chat, inshallah. And you can reply to all, so everybody can see these. Bidnillah.
Okay, awesome. So that's the second area now. And now let's get to the third area, okay, which is the area of your Salah. So again, I want you to pick one thing that you want to commit to in the area of Salah. And I know you could have 3, 4, 5, but I want you to commit to only one, okay? And again, as you're brainstorming, I'm going to keep on talking and I'll give you some tips. All right. So maybe for you is watching a lecture on Salah and how to have khushu. So, maybe that will set you in motion for everything else. Maybe committing to having fresh wudu and dressing for a prayer, all 5 of them, which sounds very, 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 different. But you might say, I want to pray, all my 5 prayers in the masjid. But what if this year you tried, I'm going to have fresh wudu and dress for my prayer, every single prayer, like treat it like an event. That would make a difference, and some people, are saying that I'm going to pray all, the entire Taraweeh. Because a lot of times, especially some people say, what, Taraweeh is not really mandatory. And then guess what you do? You get out the masjid early, but then you're hanging out. Or you're just talking in the back and you're like, no, I'm organizing. No, you're not organizing. Really, no one needs for you to be standing there, right? But you're still out there just wasting time. Picking up people with their car, helping kids have a good experience, right? Teaching a convert how to pray. There are all these unique goals you can set for the area of Salah. All right. So keep on brainstorming. Okay. In your character now, right? Take a minute and brainstorm what is one thing that you need to commit to this Ramadan. All right. And I'll give you some tips. Maybe for you, it's to say, I'm going to avoid all foul language altogether. I don't really curse like that, but I do throw out some words here and there, right? Because it's normal within my circle even. And so, okay, I'm going to commit to that. I'm going to commit to having taqwa when I'm driving. What that means is whole Ramadan, I'm not going to have road rages. That's just your one commitment. I'm going to give a full, no excuse apology to one person in my life. Or I'm going to write a thank you letter, 30 days, one person each day. That's my goal this Ramadan. I'm going to repair one damaged relationship, right? I'm going to delete all conversation that involves backbiting in my Facebook groups, in my WhatsApp groups. That's my commitment. I'm going to give an Eid gift to a non-Muslim or a friend or a colleague, right? So pick one thing in that area. And then finally, in the area of contribution, right? Already, all you guys are contributors because you are organizers, you are activists, you are volunteers, and I know that. But let me try to expand your mind a little bit here and suggest to you some few other tips that you might want to consider this Ramadan. Because you say, yeah, I volunteer every year in the masjid. Okay, I know that. But what if we were to expand that a little bit? Okay, as far as the contribution is concerned. Take 1 minute. What is that, in this area of contribution, right? So maybe is setting aside regular amount of time to serve your parents, right? Visiting someone who is sick, inviting a neighbor for iftar, carrying food to your workplace and letting them know, hey, listen, it's not Ramadan and I break fast and doing that. Clean the masjid bathroom. You might say, no, I organized the masjid. Yeah, but what if you try something different this year, right? Giving $1 every day, setting up an automated donation. And that's a big one, right? Automate your good deeds. This is Ramadan, you'll be excited, you have the motivation for it. But then after Ramadan, it dies down. So lock yourself in. So instead of giving a one-time donation, lock yourself into a program where even come 3 months down the line, you no longer have the motivation, but it's still they're taking out from your bank, right? And you're still getting that reward. So these are areas of contribution, okay? So right now,
I want to read some of the ones
go
shared
for it.
by Professor Muhammad.
Yes.
And we have some questions as we
Yes.
move on to the next one. So Jazakallah Khair Abdurrahman told us that he would like to lose a certain amount of weight by eating more vegetables. Very good, smart goal. Zahra mentioned listening to videos on tafsir for the surah you are memorizing or videos by scholars. So she, I guess, would like to have a memorization regimen, and then she's going to work on understanding those verses.
Absolutely. So again, for the both of them, for losing weight, for example, is that something that's novel? Is that new? Is that relevant even? So losing weight, okay, that might be possible, Ramadan, but so somebody once told me like my goal is to do some marathon. It made no sense. Like that has nothing to do with Ramadan, right? So that's relevant. So is it measurable, right? And by how much? And then also for the Quran tafsir, okay, which tafsir, or lectures and how much of it, so it's not just I'm going to listen to lectures on the tafsir, but how much per day, and exactly specifying. And then of course now booking it into our step number 3 weekly map. Okay, keep going.
Right. So again, I'm just going through some of them. I appreciate everybody for sharing. Halima said, in the area of Quran, I would like to memorize one short surah per week, inshallah.
Okay. And I would even argue that I would want you to specify before next 3 days, specify which surahs and have that ready.
Very good. Ramadan
and what time of the day are you going to memorize?
Okay.
For how long?
Very cool. Sosa mentioned that for contribution, she'd like to do Ramadan gifts for her non-Muslim colleagues.
Good.
So that's very nice. Somebody else mentioned that they'd like to exercise 30 minutes a day, 4 days a week. And even though she usually stops all exercise during Ramadan. So this is a new initiative that she's trying to take on. Excellent. Okay. So Jazakallah khair for all the contributions in the chat. And again, you guys can send us your Q&A. I have some questions. As you guys send them, there should be a little button there where you can send the questions in, and we'll answer them. We'll answer all the Q&As that are sent in at the end.
Absolutely. And here's something exciting that we're going to let you guys know, which is that this Ramadan we're a team. All right, all you guys watching this and join this webinar right now. Rami and I talked about it, and I think we want to become a team. All right. So together at the end, you'll hear about this. We're going to formulate a group. All right, all of us leaders, we're going to formulate a group, and we're going to keep each other accountable. And so what's going to happen is in this group, you're going to share with the group. It's going to be email group. You're going to share with the group what your goals are, and then of course your weekly map. And then we'll hold each other accountable. And even when you share those, I can give you guys feedback. Rami can give you guys feedback, and all of us can give each other feedback. All right. So I want this masterminding group, if you will, of all the different, all of you guys are leaders and volunteers and activists, and all of us together will make sure that not only do we do an amazing job, and Rami will get to it in our centers and our organizations, but also that we have a huge spiritual growth this Ramadan. Right. We take care of us first. Right. So self-care. And I would say self-care in the realm of spirituality. All right. Yeah. So very quickly, I just have a few minutes. I'm really, out of time here, but I want to make sure you understand where we're headed. And so once you have this, right, give me a second here. Once you have this, then you have to get to a map. It has to become something like this. All right. You make your weekly map, because you can have great plans. You can have great goals. But if it's not booked into a schedule, then you have nothing, right? It's just thought and plan and ideas, all right? It has to be booked in exactly when, what time of the day, all right? what's important here that I want to just quickly, on a side note here, get into is that the way I like to do the weekly map is to do it around your sleep. What I mean, I prefer to book in your sleep time first and things that you cannot move. So you get a fresh calendar, right, of the week. Then you book in your sleep times, and then you book in, for example, your work or things that cannot move, and then you book in the rest of the stuff. All right. I will show you an example in just a second. We have one of our team members, Jawad, here, who already went through step 1 through 4, and I will just show you his end product. Okay. So this Ramadan with the sleep situation, it's something that I do want to mention here is that, first of all, your body has rights. And so if you are so sleep deprived that, you're falling apart and you're getting into arguments because you're not in a good mood, then, you're doing yourself a disservice, even if you're reading a few more Quran, even if you're volunteering a little more. But because of your mood, you're groggy and you're, really harsh to people, then you're not really helping the process, right? So at the same time, don't expect your normal balanced sleep schedule. So if you get your beauty at 8 hours, don't expect that in Ramadan, right? And people, don't they do that? When they're studying for, MCAT or when they're preparing for a CPA exam, people, that 3 months they hustle, right? So this 1 month, it's okay if you don't get your 8 hours. That's all right if you don't even get your 6 hours. But if you're getting 3, 4, then we have a problem, right? And the big thing is being able to understand your sleep cycle and also utilize naps. Okay, I'm going to do this very quickly. I have an entire video on. You can check it out. I thought I was going to talk about this, then I realized, Rami, that I did a whole video last year with Oaktree about this. So guys, go to YouTube, go to the Oaktree YouTube page and your channel, and I think maybe you can put it up. I think it's called something about managing your sleep in Ramadan. Yeah. It's 18 minutes video that I covered this in detail. So I'm not going to cover in detail here about your sleep and how exactly it works and the sleep cycles and then how to take naps. But I'll tell you something very quickly, all right? Your body goes, when you go to sleep, it goes from you being awake, then you go to a deep sleep, then you wake up. Deep sleep, wake up. And that you go through this throughout the night, right? So your body actually goes from, light sleep, deep sleep, light sleep, deep sleep, light sleep. That's the basic way point to put it. I'm not going to go through all the stages and how it works. But the point is, you're constantly going to sleep and waking up throughout your sleep cycle. And that happens every hour and a half. Okay. That's why, don't you realize sometimes you wake up, after having slept a long time and you feel tired still, but then some days you wake up and you feel fresh. That's because if you wake up when you're in a deep sleep, all of a sudden you wake up in that, then you're not feeling so good. But if you wake up and you're in a light sleep, you're doing much better. So it's an hour and a half, sleep cycle. And if you're getting really confused right now, is a good time after the webinar to go check out the YouTube video. All right. So we'll put a link up as Rami is presenting, and then after the webinar you can check it out. But hour and a half. And the second thing is utilizing your naps. Naps are very important. If you take 10 to 20 minutes naps, that's good for energy. 30-minute nap is good for memory recall, but you don't want to nap more than 30 minutes. Why? You got it. Because you're now going into a deep cycle. When you go in deep cycle now, then if you wake up after 45 minutes, you're going to feel horrible because you're already in deep cycle. The point is in Ramadan, you're not going to get full 6 hours straight, but its idea is to get that 6 hours, but break it up into pieces. So maybe you're going to get hour and a half before, suhoor or 2 on the weekend, for example, because you're going to be out after Tarawih, maybe you're eating or exercising, whatever. So get hour and a half, get hour and a half or 3 hours or 5 hours, so it has to be in hour and a half, 3 hours, 4.5 or 6. It has to be in that cycle. All right. So get maybe hour or 3 hours before suhoor and then get another hour and a half afterwards. But again, hour and a half. And some of you, it might be hour and 40 minutes. Some of you maybe hour and 20 minutes. Depends on your body. Watch that video. You will know. Okay. So that's the sleep cycle. And you make sure you utilize your nap. Okay. So once you do that, then you can make your weekly map. Okay. And I hear the last step is creating ecology. What I mean by that is you have to have people around you who's also playing at this high level, right? You can't be around losers who just wants to get by Ramadan, right? That's why we're trying to create this a group that you will hear about from Rami in a second, is because of this, all right? So let me give you an example of one of our team member here, Jawad, who already went through step 1 through 4. So step 1, so let me, I'm going to come out of this. And let me, yes.
Hey, Salam.
Salam, Jawad.
Salam, Jawad.
How's it going, guys?
Hey, how are you doing?
We're doing good, alhamdulillah. So, all right. So this is Jawad. I just pulled up your weekly map. It's not fully done. So let me first, again, very quickly. Number one step is that Jawad already he did step number one, which was
The sleep. So booking in the.
well, no, but the step number one as far as the formula before the weekly map, our cleaning our trash, right? So prioritizing, right?
Right.
So Jawad already, he already looked at his next 30 days, looked at things he need to take out, looked at things he need to prioritize, and opened up space for his Ramadan goals. Okay, that's number one. Number two, he already has the 5 areas of progress, and one thing he already chose for each of those areas. All right. So let me ask you, Jawad, for the area of body, what did you make as your one thing you're gonna commit to?
Yeah, so for my physical body,
Yeah.
I chose that, I won't overeat during suhoor or iftar. That tends to happen, I think for the last couple of years. And I think that's something new that I need to try.
So this year you're committing to not overeating in suhoor or iftar.
Right.
Okay, that's very specific and very, very concrete. Okay. In the area of Salah, what did you pick? What did you decide?
So for Salah, I said, especially for my 5 daily prayers, I'm pretty good. But, especially during Taraweeh, for the last couple of years, I noticed that when I take my phone at that time, I go on my phone and then social media and things like that. And it kind of takes away from my khushu during the prayer.
Mm-hmm.
So, the one thing I'll do is fresh wudu, dress nice. And I'm not going to take my phone when I'm going to Isha and Taraweeh.
Oh, wow, that's an interesting commitment.
That's a big one.
Okay. So, what is your goal for area of Quran?
So for Quran, my goal is going to be by 9:15. Every day, I'm going to read up on the verses before Taraweeh. So basically just in the translation of the verses that are going to be recited during prayer, or even part of it, I might not be able to do all of it. Okay. And also I already have a schedule where I read a book before I go to sleep. So whatever book I'm reading, for that month, I'm reading a book. So I'm going to replace that with, some, I actually bought a book recently called The Study Quran. And I picked up that book, so I'm going to be reading from there, verses, and it's basically tafsir of verses before I go to sleep.
Okay. So basically you're going to get the schedule from the masjid, what they're going to recite the next day, and you're going to pre-plan so that when you go there, because you're still learning Arabic and so forth, so you're going to go there already read the translation, so your Taraweeh is going to be that much more fruitful, right?
Right.
Absolutely. Okay. And okay, and then what did you decide as far as your character? What is one thing you're committing to?
Yeah, so for character, I picked that I will send out a thank you letter to 30 people this Ramadan. And alhamdulillah, I'm a very people person. I know a lot of people, and I think a lot of people deserve thank yous.
Is Rami gonna get one?
I don't know. Rami will find out.
As long as it's a car, you're good, man. I say you're welcome.
All right. Yeah. Okay. And then okay. And the area of contribution. I mean, of course, you're already involved in at Oaktree and so forth. But did you have anything new that you wanted to, something exciting and something measurable, something ambitious that you want to do this year?
So yeah, I last couple of years I've been very, very involved with my local masjid, and I was volunteering and organizing programs pretty much every Ramadan. So I'm gonna take a break on that. No volunteering at the masjid for me this year. This year I'm gonna be a little bit more focused on family. So at least twice a week for sure. I'm gonna be helping out my mom with iftar and just prepping food and things like that before iftar.
Okay. And again, for the folks who are, masjid, you are involved with the masjid, you're a masjid organizer, absolutely. There's no problem in it, and that's good. And you want to focus that. It's just about having balance, right? What it really means is that a lot of you Ramadan at the end, and I've heard this from organizers, and this really saddens me. When after the Ramadan, a lot of organizers have this bitter taste in their mouth because they couldn't do stuff for themselves. And they just did stuff for the community, and that's sad because then you did this. Of course you get extra reward and you're organizing, you're helping other people perform their Ramadan ibadah and so forth, but it has to be about you as well. You can't give what you don't have. So all right, so very quickly here as we wrap up here, so I already pre-populated I already asked Jawad to pre-populate his sort of his sleep schedule and his work. That, you know, he's working full time. Of course, he has an e-commerce business, and you know, he's involved with Oaktree. So you know, I booked in few things. It's half done, but I want you guys to get an idea. All right. So if you're listening in, you know, as you're watching this, I want you to get an idea. So the first thing I asked him, this is the way you want to start this map, is ask him, okay, what time are you going to go to sleep? What time are you going to wake up? He said, okay, I'm going to go to sleep around 12. I'm going to wake up, you know, before suhoor, half an hour before. Then I'm going to be awake. Then I'm going to sleep again for an hour and a half. Then I'm going to go to work at 9. Okay. Now, here's the thing. It's possible that maybe Saturday or Sunday, I know he said here, sleep, but it's possible that, you know, he will not sleep at 12. Or some of you organizers, maybe you have meeting on a weekend, right? After Tarawih, some of you have meetings. And so you sleep at 1 o'clock instead. That's fine. At least you get your hour and a half. Or maybe last 10 nights, you want to pray. And so that's fine. But the idea is, as much as possible, even if you get hour and a half before Fajr, that's good enough. Get something before Fajr. Because what that will do is, that will keep your body in a good energy, right? And then a lot of people do this, right? So second thing here, work, right? As Rihanna said. But you have all this work here, right? But I always ask this question. I said, okay, fine. People say, yeah, on my schedule, 9 to 5 work. I said, okay, but let me ask you this question. In your work, 9 to 5, is there any time in there that you can actually book in some of your goals? I'm not proposing that you do your personal life stuff and being on the clock of your company. That's not what I'm proposing here. What I'm proposing is you have that 1 hour lunch break, which you're not going to be eating anymore. Maybe it requires for you to go downstairs into the garage and take a 20-minute nap. And I know it might sound a little strange, but you know, that 20 minute, you will change your Tarawih. Because that 20 minutes, you're going to feel so much energized. When you come back home, you're not going to just sit down in the couch and you know, knock out. That's not, you know, because you're going to have energy. Even that 20 minutes does a big magic. Or maybe that 1 hour, you have the goal of, you know, listening to a lecture. Okay, that's the good time. Instead of just, you know, bumming around on the cubicles, other colleagues, it might not be the best time. You know, take that 1 hour and do something. Commute. A lot of people just, you know, sit and commute. Okay, or maybe you get napped in the train station. That's fine. But, you know, maybe you always can listen to something, right? So it's about maximizing every single time that you have in between. Then what I will ask Jawad, and this is what you're gonna do for yourself is, okay, then we look at this schedule. Once you booked in the sleep and booked in whatever you can put in the, you know, in your calendar, and then you book it in. So for example, if I ask you, so he said 9:30, so, you know, we would put it in here. I'm not gonna do it for the sake of time, but, you know, he would put in right here, and then he would put in, you know, his other goals, whatever. And the whole idea is to actually book it into the calendar. All right. So, you know, so he said that, you know, he's gonna help his mom prepare for iftar. And so, okay, so then he will book it into, you know, whatever, you know, 7 o'clock to 8:30 is his service to his mom time. So those will be booked in. And the whole point here is this, you know, some of us don't make plans because we have so much on our plate that we want to do. And we're scared that if we start doing this, putting it on paper, that we realize that we cannot do all of them. So we just keep it in our head thinking that, you know what, just hoping and praying for the best. No, you can't hope and pray for the best. You have to just book it in and then realize, you know what, I don't have the time for it. Okay, then I have to prioritize. And that's why I said just one thing for Aya Quran, just one thing for Salah. Because look, you have the 5-6 things, but you're not going to be able to do it. You have to be human about this. It's like this. If you tell me, like, you know, I'm so busy that I stopped going to bathroom now. You know, I'm too busy now. I know it sounds ridiculous, but that's exactly what it is. Your body's going to force you to go to bathroom, right? So you have to be human about this, right? So maybe some of you have, you know, you don't have the work, but you have your masjid meetings, you have your, you know, you have different campaigns you're running for your social projects. Okay, yes, you booked in when exactly? All right. I would rather you do less, but have it on the schedule. All right. And so that's how you do your weekly map. Okay. So obviously, and I'm giving you here an overview, and of course there is a lot more to it, and we will do it together. If you want to join our leaders group for the month of Ramadan and our support group together, I'm myself, Rami, we're willing to look at your goals, help you through it, keep you accountable, right? Every week we can report to each other saying that I got it done this week, and let me see your map, right? Don't just tell me about it. Show me your map. Publicly send out your map and see how exactly you booked it in. All right. It's great to have the goals, but you got to tell me when you're doing it, what time exactly. And they're going to have breathing space. Some people, they're like, okay, at 7 o'clock this, 8 o'clock that. No, you're not. Just to walk takes 15 minutes. You got to put that in. Same with their sleep. You can't tell me I'm going to go to sleep at 12 and get up at 1:30. It takes you 15 minutes to go to sleep. Where's that time at? Oh, no, I didn't put that in. Yeah, if you don't put it in, then it's cutting away from your hour and a half. So you have to put that in. Some of you takes 5 minutes, some of you takes half an hour to go to sleep. Right. And of course, there are things you could do to improve your sleep. And I'm not going to get into that. Watch that sleep video. You'll know. Things like making sure you don't have a screen when you're going to sleep, making wudu and we're doing light yoga right before sleep. There are sleep yogas you can watch 5-10 minutes. You go sleep much faster. So you could try those approaches. All right. So that's our map. And I'm excited for you.
Barakallah feek, bro. I appreciate it. So we'll take 5 minutes of questions, inshallah ta'ala. I have a couple here. Again, if you can send us through the panel, there's a button on the bottom. You can just send in your questions, or you can put them in the group chat right now, and then we'll answer them live. So the first one is, so in terms of like exercise, I think the question from Ronak was, are you saying not to do daily morning walks? Is that something that somebody should not do in terms of exercise?
So again, I'm not an exercise science expert, neither I'm a nutritionist, but from the advices that I got when preparing, because I have extensive Ramadan mastery workshop, and when preparing for this, when I spoke to different nutritionists, different exercise science expert, what I meant is extraneous exercises. No, of course, taking a light walk, that's not a problem. Okay. But running, and running for 1 hour, hour and a half, or things like that, or sprint training, those are not something you want to do in Ramadan, unless you're a professional athlete and you have an actual health coach to guide you through it. Because there are people that are professional players that are Muslim, that are keeping their routines, but they have a specific, the way they do it. They dehydrate throughout the night, and there's a whole bunch of things you have to do. All right.
Okay. Jazakallah khair, Muhammad. So, and the next one was by Naseem. So he's asking about the working out as well.
Okay.
So what if your gym closes after Taraweeh? Can I work out after iftar, before Taraweeh? Why can we not gain muscle during Ramadan? What's the point of the gym then?
Right. So again, I'm not exercise science expert, not a nutritionist, but I will tell you advices that I received on it, that it's very hard when you're doing intermittent fasting. It's very hard to gain muscle. You can maintain it, but it's hard to gain, because first of all, your body uses the sugar, and then it goes to the fat and so forth, and then it starts to even deteriorate. Because if you rip, what happens is your body doesn't cannot replace it. In the month of Ramadan, because how the way you're fasting, so it's not the best time to work on muscle. And then maybe you want to focus on for exercise for you, is it to get more buff, or is it to get more vibrancy in your life, to get more cardio in, and if you say the gym closes, is that the only option that you have to do something? Is that something you could do at home? Plenty of stuff they could do at home. And because if you eat like that and heavy and then go, it's not gonna work out. Or right before, some people do this. They go. I know someone who went to after Fajr. He's like, after Fajr, I feel energized. So I go to gym. But I know what he did. He went to gym, but then the whole day he was lodging around because he was tired, whatever. And he's like, oh, I'm so thirsty. Can you come help out in the machine? I'm too thirsty. Then what was the whole point? Or one guy did leg workout. He's like, I can't go to Taraweeh. Why? My leg hurts. And there are elderly people who are praying 20 rakat Taraweeh, right? And it's like a young guy, and he can't pray Taraweeh 20 rakat. So what's up with that leg? So it's something you have to ask yourself and be honest about.
Yeah. Last question for right now, and again, we'll have question and
Sure.
answer session at the end as well. How often in the week do you recommend us praying all 21 rakats for Taraweeh?
It's a personal choice. To be honest, personal choice. And I would say in the area of Salah, you make one commitment. If praying all 20 throughout the whole month of Ramadan and finishing the whole Quran with the Imam is your goal, that's your goal. It's really, I'm not going to talk about which is more beneficial, this and that. You could talk to your Imam and his scholars that you consult about that. But my focus here is how you're going to schedule it. And the big thing for me is committing to one thing and sticking with it and getting it done. Because leaders don't make commitment and then can't keep it. Right. So whatever you make commitment on, you're going to deliver.